Pop! Why did the tomato blush? It saw the salad dressing. Welcome to the Papahood Podcast. In this series of challenges that parents face, we're talking about something that for me is close to my heart. Because in my professional life, I do behavioral training. And one of the things that I'm a big believer in is how we recognize and change our behaviors, right? I believe that once we do the right recognition, we can then tune, change, or tweak our behaviors for the better. And this is not just for children, it's for parents, it's also for professionals. But that's what I do in my professional life. But think about this. How do I address the behavioral challenges of my kids without stifling their own personalities? How do we do that? It's not easy, but think about this. There are a few things I'd like to share with you today. Let's start by discussing behavioral challenges and its significance of differentiating between them, right? Because every behavior, whether it is crying, whether it is withdrawal, whether it is anger, resistance, any form of tantrums, I think the biggest one is silence. For me, that's how I read into my kids, right? If I know they've gone silent when they usually wouldn't or shouldn't, then I know we have a small challenge. So each of these emotions, each of these behaviors, they convey a very specific feeling or behavior that the child is going through or thought that the child is going through. And as parents, we need to be a little more attuned to them. Now, I know each of us do this very well. We do it in our own ways. My eldest is a very smart chap, but he's got this gawky side to him, right? And I know when he goes a little overboard, especially with his siblings. So I know he loves to have fun, he loves to play, and it's a joy just watching that. As a parent, you like to sit down and just record it, right? Just in case you forget sometimes. Or in your later years, you can go back and review those reels or videos. But then there are times when he goes silent. And I know that there's a challenge that we are maybe not talking about, or maybe I haven't picked up something, or my wife and myself haven't picked up something. So we deliberately make it a point to go sit down, have a chat, or try and get him out of that silence, right? So I'm sure each of us have our own ways of dealing with this. That's absolutely great. But when we are looking at these different behaviors of how a child is going through that, how do we handle this? By not stifling, not compromising their own identities, right? So I think the foundation of this, and I'm sure all of you will agree with me on it, is the parent-child bond, right? Always, any relationship, and especially the child relationship, parent-child relationship, is based upon trust, is based upon communication. So the more you communicate, the more authentic your communication is. The most important thing in communication, as we all know, is intent. So if our intention is correct with our children and teenagers and adults can read that. They know your intention. They see your intention. They hear it. They feel it, right? And that's what makes us beautifully human, isn't it? So the foundation is communication and trust. And it never ends. Because we have to understand that the child is changing and going through different stages and phases in their life. And we as adults must make the effort to build that trust, to build that communication. Because I think that's so critical, isn't it? I mean, think of a relationship not based on trust. Well, it may not last you very long. The child's well-being also depends on giving them that atmosphere to come and talk to you. I remember my daughter wanted to talk to me about something. And she just came up to me and she said, "Dad, I want to talk to you about ABC." And I said, "All right, let's do this." And we sat down, we had a chat. She had bounced it off her mom before that, so that was absolutely fine, right? I think giving them that atmosphere to come up and talk to you about anything is such a joy. And when it happens, and me as a parent, when I look back and sometimes when it takes place, I feel blessed. I feel genuinely happy because they felt comfortable enough to come talk to us about it, which is a fantastic feeling. Now, having said that, one of the things parents must also do, I think there are a couple of things, but one of them is establishing those boundaries, right? Age-appropriate boundaries, of course. And we understand what they can and what they cannot do, right? And every child over a period of time will understand how those boundaries work if a parent is consistent with them in their messaging, right? That's very important. Positive reinforcement is another thing that parents can do. Celebrating every small thing that the child does. My two younger ones play football, and most often than not, a lot of the times they lose their matches and they slip up, they make a mistake, whatever. Coming back in the car, there's always the discussion of how I could do better, what we did well, and so on and so forth. And what I like to do, especially most of the times I'm watching their games, I like to pick up a few things that they don't talk about. The small behaviors that, that they don't establish, basically. So I highlight it. I tell them, "Hey, listen, you did that. And, I think that's good enough. That shows what you are, what you mean." So I think that those are the things that we can, really do to help our children over those behavioral challenges they face. At the same time, I think what's very important is not to stifle who they genuinely are, right? Efficient disciplining techniques is another one. How do you discipline them, and what that does for the child? So there's a lot there we can take. Parents, we need to be careful about how we deal with this, because their behaviors that are established when they're young makes them who they are as they grow up, become adults. Wherever you are, stay safe, like, share, follow, spread the love, please. Thank you.